so those who were benefiting abused the system rather than accepting the responsibility. I think that there is a significant dotted line that connects those of us in this room with lost people. I believe there is a direct link. The number of lost people in the world is directly connected to the number of Christians who do not witness. People want to be saved now as much as ever. But how can they be saved unless we witness? And don't raise your hand, but how many of you witnessed to someone this week? Most churches in the United States will go Sunday after Sunday without a single hand going up. But we have a part to play. I think there is a dotted line between church financial problems and Christians who don't tithe. Someone jokingly said to me Wednesday night, said, you need to raise the percentage to 15%. And I said, no, we don't. I like God's plan. God said, just everybody give 10% and it will be okay. There is a direct line between the immorality in the world and believers who read but do not obey God's word. You know, you're sitting there, you're watching the 11 o'clock news, and you're watching someone who's being arrested, and then you say, oh my Lord, that guy's in my Sunday school class. Now that's a little creepy, folks. We are here to change the world, not to lose our identity and participate in the world's sin. We have a responsibility in God's plan. Third statement, God's plan is not dependent upon me. That means without me, God can't move ahead. Mordecai made it clear to Esther when he called her that she had a choice. She could help the Jews or she could refuse them. If she failed, Mordecai said, God will raise up another person. If I decide I'm not going to preach, God will put someone else in this pulpit. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. God will never fail because we fail. God might move in a different direction. He might move on without us. When Israel failed, God brought together a group of people that assembled around his son, and they became the new Israel. And God sent them to do what the old Israel had failed to do, and that is share the gospel with the entire world, every race, every nationality, every tribe under the sun. The Pharisees were talking about the disciples speaking out for Jesus. And Jesus replied by saying, I tell you, if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out. Jesus said, if my disciples do not do their work, the stones will cry out. The upcoming week of prayer for North American missions has an interesting theme. Live with urgency. Live with urgency. doesn't mean to rush your life away, but it means to live every day with expectancy and commitment and living every day with responsibility and fulfillment. When Mordecai came to Esther, he said, Esther, we have 11 months before all of us are going to die. Now, 11 months is one of those things that could be misunderstood and say, well, that's quite a bit of time, you know. But not according to the customs of that day. How was Esther going to get the king's audience? How was she going to convince him to change an order that he had already sent out? She only had 11 months to get it done. And you know, some of us have been telling ourselves, we've got a whole year to do this, to do that. And tomorrow's March the 1st, and we haven't even gotten started yet. Now, Esther did not take 11 months. She did her job in 3. She had a sense of urgency. She knew that she needed to give God her full attention. And you know, maybe you have a personal problem this morning. Maybe you keep that personal problem concealed from everybody else in the world. And maybe you're hoping and praying that personal problem is going to go away. But what you need to do is attack that problem with urgency. Maybe there's someone in your family or your carpool that doesn't know Jesus Christ. And you're praying that your life can be a witness, that you can affect that person by the way you live, by your kindness. But you need to attack that task with urgency, as if this might be the last day. Mordecai came to Esther. I don't know that he had to do it, but he chose to let Esther know that she played a key role and had this responsibility, but would also suffer consequences. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to royal position for such a time as this. Every one of us has an urgent call from God. If you read our website, I encourage you to go to my recent blog that went up this week. Sitting in staff meeting last week, and Judy Cole had our devotional. And then Judy asked us to write down the name of or to give her the name of a lost person. And then she asked us if we believed this lost person was going to hell. And then she asked us if we believed in that literal hell. And I don't remember what she said after that. Because my thoughts were, I have been praying for this person to be saved, but I haven't really treated it like he could go to hell today. Sense of urgency. And then I began to ask God to give me some ways that I might communicate with this person. Share the gospel with them. Our final statement is, I am in need of God. Boy, When someone starts stepping out for God, things begin to happen. So when Esther was willing to brave the challenge, the risk, to go against tradition and custom, things started falling right and left. First of all, Haman was hanged on the gallows that he built for Mordecai. See, if you are faithful to God, God will take the plans of the devil and turn them on the devil. The devil will self-destruct if you are faithful. It's sort of like you put on the shield, and that shield will protect you. The Jews were permitted to defend themselves. The king said, I've made a ruling and I can't change the ruling. The ruling is that all Jews are to be killed.